2nd August, 1949. Because of evening fever, Maharshi has been given 4 penicillin injections, aggregating 1 million units, which stopped it since 2 days. Yesterday, orders were issued that in view of his extreme weakness, the maximum rest and comfort should be given to Sri Maharshi. Disciples were therefore requested to attend only 1 hour in the morning and 1 in the evening for the usual Parayanam, the Veda recital, so that after 9:30 a.m. the doors were closed, which Maharshi did not notice. But when at 3:30 p.m. he saw the doors still closed and came to learn of the new orders, he rebelled and commanded that they should be immediately opened. He argued, "Many people come from great distances for darshan and cannot wait till evening. They must not be disappointed. Secondly, if the doors remain closed, people will suspect something serious and the whole town will flock. And thirdly, if you pin the devotees to only these hours, the time may not suit some of them, who will be greatly inconvenienced." The doors remained open, but the devotees were privately requested not to cause him discomfort by their presence, which most of them obeyed. Today being Tuesday as well as a Hindu festival, a constant stream of villagers continued to flow in the hall to prostrate and go out for pradakshina around the sacred Arunachala hill. Today also the hall remained open as usual, but the devotees attended only the 2 specific hours, with the exception of the very few who were immune to persuasion. The bell of the temple remained silent this evening. 7th August. Although tomorrow will be full moon and therefore Maharshi's shaving day, yesterday he was given the shave. From yesterday, Parayanam also stopped, and with it the admission of the disciples into the hall. Visitors alone could enter, prostrate, and go out immediately. Disciples could prostrate outside the hall. Last night the surgeon Raghavacharya arrived. Before him arrived all the necessary instruments and blood plasma and such things for today's operation. At 7 a.m., Dr. Guruswami also arrived by car. Sri Maharshi walked to the dispensary very early in the morning to be prepared for operation. He was given an injection in the left shoulder of the new anesthetic called Novocaine family, and also one of the Omnipon, an alkaloid of opium, to keep him half asleep and to deaden the pain of the operation. The operation is to be bloodless through the use of a diathermic knife, which is not actually a knife, but a blunted needle controlled by electricity. The needle merely moves over the flesh required to be cut, and the electric current does the actual cutting, simultaneously with the singing and singeing of the blood vessels, so as to cause immediate clotting, with the result that neither bleeding nor infection takes place. At about 8:15 a.m., the operation proper started. The surgeon took great care not to leave a single morbid cell in the wound. He had thus to cut very deep without interfering with the ulnar nerve. The operation lasted about 2.5 hours. Then the arm was put in plaster of Paris, tightly bandaged. A little after the beginning of the operation, Sri Maharshi had labored breathing, which frightened the surgeon, who stopped a while and started giving blood transfusion. The 2 bottles of plasma brought in advance did not prove sufficient, so that fresh blood was taken from the radiologist and others, some of which was mixed with the plasma and some given as it is. In all, the Maharshi was given 250 cc's of plasma and 650 cc's of fresh blood. From 8 a.m., devotees started pouring from South India and from the town, so that by 10:30 a.m., constables and special volunteers had to control the crowd. All approaches to the dispensary were closed and sentries were posted at them. Numerous doctors crowded the dispensary or rushed in and out of it on one mission or other till about 10:45 a.m. when Sri Ramanasramam came out with Dr. Guru Swami and told the anxious crowd that the operation is highly successful, but Bhagavan must have full rest today and must not be approached, and that devotees may kindly disperse now. Tomorrow they may have his darshan if the doctors will permit it. The crowd gradually melted, but started gathering again at about 5 p.m. Having received the news that a large number of devotees were anxious to see how he was, Sri Maharshi insisted that he should walk to the darshan hall, which dismayed the doctors, but with difficulty he eventually agreed to a compromise to be placed on the veranda of the dispensary and there give darshan. The bhaktas arranged themselves in a queue and filed past him with only a bow. A prostration was not allowed for lack of time and space. 9th August 1949. Yesterday, Sri Maharshi felt very uncomfortable with the plaster of Paris sticking to his flesh. He felt a great itching sensation in the wound, but the plaster was too thick to make an impression when massaged. At 11:30 a.m., the plaster was removed, and at 12:45 in the afternoon, the Maharshi suddenly rose and went down the dispensary steps towards the darshan hall. The attending doctors were flabbergasted, rushed to him with folded hands, and tried their best to take him back to his bed in the dispensary, at least up to 4:45, but it was of no avail. He tottered to the new bathroom, and thence to the darshan hall. At 5:15, people were allowed to enter from the east door, prostrate, and walk straight out by the south door. And this morning, although Maharshi's temperature was normal and he was feeling better, no one was allowed to enter the hall even for prostration. This had to be made outside the south door, which remained open with a sliding, collapsible door drawn across it, through which devotees could see him facing them without being able to enter. The offerings table, which usually stands near the couch, was today placed outside the south door, so that flower and fruit offerings may be deposited on it. Penicillin injections are being administered to prevent infection, sepsis.